grandfather was Dr. J.F. Conrad, he was an MD, and my dad was Dr. J.M. Conrad, he was a chiropractor. And originally the hotel up here on the corner, where the brick apartment building is now, that was a bathhouse, and the hotel was attached to that. 37 rooms, dining room, and originally it was a Columbus hotel, and it burned down in the early 1900s, and it was rebuilt. My grandfather bought it then. It was a good thing for a long time.
John Edmund Newhouse is considered the founder of Magnetic Springs. He was born to a pioneer family in Union County in 1845. In 1860, he started a nursery and vineyard, which he later sold to purchase a larger vineyard. In 1879, on the land known as Green Bend, he discovered a magnetic spring. He'd been drilling for over a week. The drill took a sudden drop, and at 68 feet, water gushed out of the ground like a fountain. It was later discovered that this water was magnetic. He had placed a knife blade into the water, and after a period of time, it would pick up small metal objects, acting just like a magnet.
Real magnetic water. You can put a knife in there for 24 hours, let the water run on it, take it out, and it'll pick up tacks. The chemical analysis in Magnetic Springs water is the same within a 3-mile radius of Magnetic Springs.
Newhouse, a man of vision, soon began platting lots for a new town. His determination helped transform Green Bend into Magnetic Springs and make the village a resort town for health and pleasure seekers. Soon Newhouse opened the Magnetic Springs Bathhouse. As people came to the bathhouse, Newhouse also developed a unique park, which he named Eagle Park. Here he planted trees, built rustic bridges along nature trails. While drilling other wells in search of magnetic water, Mr. Newhouse discovered a sulfur spring south of town. He built a road from Magnetic Springs to this new spring and planted hundreds of maple trees in the area which would later be called Maple Dell. At the new location, he built a conservatory and filled it with tropical trees and exotic animals. He also built a log cabin, provided boat rides, erected a toboggan slide, and even opened an ice cream factory. The magnetic water treatments at J.E. Newhouse's bathhouse benefited those afflicted with various illnesses. And for almost 100 years after Newhouse discovered the water, people streamed from all over the Midwest to Magnetic Springs to drink the water and take the medicinal bath treatments. Soon after the magnetic water was discovered, a Richwood Presbyterian pastor named Rose drank and bathed in the water. It helped his kidney disease. He later told Newhouse that Newhouse was committing a sin by not using the magnetic water to help the sick. Newhouse must have agreed. The first baths were given on October 18, 1879, in 3 zinc-lined tubs.
Put them in the elevator and take them up to their room. Next day, or they'd come down for lunch. They'd tell you what time lunch. Ask us what time lunch was, and we'd tell them, and they'd come down and eat lunch, and then they would go back up to the room and lay down for a while, and then they'd come out, maybe take a walk, and just sit out there in the lobby and talk to other people around on the front. Put them at a steam table back in the wall.
The sequence of the bath was, and you got one a day, is that you come in, and it was not a co-ed bath. It was a men on one side, women on the other side. And what they did is you came in, the first thing you did, you got a real hot shower. And from there, you went into a hot tub, steaming as hot as you could stand it. From there, you went to a steam cabinet where they rolled you back into a cabinet that was, again, the heat and the water. From there, they put you on a table and wrapped you in blankets for a while. And from there, you went to a rub table for either a salt or an alcohol rub.
Most of them took the salt out of the pan, put it on, and rub it. They were really in. You'd bend their legs and twist their arms.
From there, then you went back and got another shower. It took about an hour to take the whole bath. The masseurs were local people, both the men and the women. and worked in the bathhouses here most of their lives.
Started working for Dorothy Ballard when I was about 7. I got older, I went and give baths, and my sister, she worked in there too, and she helped.
From the steam cabinet to that.
To the a bathtub. They
A
had
bathtub.
yeah, you got in the steam tub in the steam room, and then they'd come out and they'd get in the tub, and they'd sit in there for a while, and then they'd get up on the table, and then they'd sit there, and then they'd. Well, it took about 2 hours to get the bath.
All these processes were,
You
were
went
part
to
of the
each
bath.
one, You went to each one.
So the question is, did the $1 magnetic baths and treatments really work?
People say, well, it was just a fad. Well, it wasn't a fad because we've seen people come in on a stretcher in an ambulance. I've helped carry them into the hotel, and 3 weeks later they walk out. So the baths do a good job.
Consider the testimony of Mr. Edgar Hall, who in 1948 sought treatment for sciatic rheumatism.
They carried me in on a stretcher and I walked out on my own.
And they said Ted Hall used to be out here in the country, and he walked up, or he come in on a wheelchair, and he walked in.
The hall trees at the hotels were said to be full of canes that people had left behind when they were cured of whatever ailed them. Many doctors practiced in Magnetic Springs over the years. Some opened hotels and provided rooms, meals, and treatments. Others worked for these doctors or had their own practices. In 1883, Dr. Thomas and Dr. Sager began their work at the Beehive Boarding House, located next to the Park Hotel. Dr. Thomas and Dr. Sager used electricity as part of their treatment.
The 4 hotels were the livelihood of the town. There was Dr. Conrad Hotel, there was Encore Hotel, which was originally the Sager Hotel. And then my uncle, Orman Conrad, bought it, and he changed the name to the Encore, which was, his wife's name was Ina, his son was Claude. So I-N-C-N-O-R is how the Encore got named. And it was the high rise, it was up on the corner where the city park is now. That was the only high rise in Union County at that time, and the only building in Union County that had an elevator. Then the Ballard Hotel was again on the back street, locally owned by Eldon Ballard and his family. It was one of the smaller hotels. The bathhouse was separate from the hotel part of it, but they did a fantastic job. Then the Park Hotel, which was back on the back street, was the showcase of Magnetic Springs. It was a very beautiful place, and it was again a hotel and a bathhouse, the same as the rest of them.
In the early 1900s, people came to Magnetic Springs by foot, horse and buggy, bus, and train to cure everything from bladder problems to rheumatism. Waters from the 4 tapped Magnetic Springs became very popular. By 1887, the water had gained the attention of the First Lady. Mrs. Grover Cleveland ordered a cask of water.
I can remember back in the 40s and the 50s, where there might be 3,000 people living in a town with a normal population of 360. If the hotels couldn't hold them all, and of course they couldn't hold 3,000 people, but almost every house in town had an extra room that they rented out. They came in by bus, they came in by train to either Marion, Delaware, or Marysville. Greyhound bus stopped 3 times a day in Magnetic Springs during the 40s and 50s.
Magnetic Springs also served as a home away from home for a number of professional and college football teams, most notably the Ohio State University Buckeyes.
Ohio State University used to bring the football team up here before games.
The Buckeyes eventually signed a contract with the Park Hotel for exclusive rights to stay at the hotel before Saturday games, working out, practicing in the yard in front of the hotel, and rehabbing team members and staff through baths and spa treatment.
They go back to Columbus on Saturday to play the game.
OSU opponents found their way to Magnetic Springs as well, including Illinois, Purdue, and Wisconsin. Magnetic Springs was also the site for the training camps of 2 major professional football franchises in the early 1930s. The Tribune detailed a tough-fought game between the Brooklyn Dodgers and the Chicago Bears in September 1930. Dodgers, under the direction of coach John Dealer, had just returned from their training camp at Magnetic Springs, and that Bronco Nagurski and Red Grange were members of the Chicago Bears team that year. On the notorious side, a 1949 raid at the Park Hotel that resulted in the confiscation of slot machines, and FBI interest in gambling activities at the Encore Hotel.
Fourth floor of the Encore that you had to have a special key to get to.
Yeah, yeah. They did some gambling up there. Back during the 40s, the mafia used to come here to recoup and so on and so forth. There was nothing for the housekeeping ladies to go back in the linen room and find machine guns and Tommy guns intermingled under the clean linens. Back in the 40s, they had slot machines.
They had slot machines at Park Hotel too. They had them all over.
Is that where the FBI story came from? That the FBI was going to come in and take slot machines out?
I don't know. I can't remember that.
While there are many more tales to tell, people to point out, and experiences to detail, the important thing to remember is that thousands of visitors from all walks of life descended upon a tiny town to receive the curative powers of its special water and experience a lifestyle and all the amenities that come with the splendor, excitement, and elegance of a resort. Hence began a dream.